All right, guys, what's up, team? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got Palantir running up. We got the all right, guys, what's up, team? Good morning. We got the Japanese rate hike decision. The rate hike came in as expected, but they had a little bit of growth worries in their forecast. I think that's why we're gapping down this morning. Yeah, we'll see what happens, chat. Market's been running, honestly. But yeah, give me a second. Let's get some music going, and then we'll talk about it. Let's see, I'm gonna go back pretty far. I think yesterday we listened to a lot of the old music I had, so let's try to keep going back some more. And yeah, like I said, before we get into anything, as I always say, not an investment professional. We're not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart, trade responsible. Can't guarantee anything. Do not copy me. We're not liable if you do. And yeah. All right. So Palantir up to 128.20s a share. 128.20s a share. It has been a standout in 2025. It's going up. It's gone up approximately 66% year to date. It's attributed to strong demand for its AI platform, significant gov contracts, expanded partnerships, including one with Google or Alphabet. And you can kind of see Palantir make this big run. If we take a look at Palantir right here, you can see Palantir making this big run, going up pretty significantly this morning. It is included. Palantir is part of the, I think it's part of the Dow, or is it the S&P? It's one of those. I'll have to go check. But yeah, Palantir, pretty big today. As always, as of yesterday, you know, we're talking about the Moody's downgrade. Moody's recent downgrade of sovereign credit rating has raised concerns about the country's fiscal health, leading to treasury yields spiking up and a weak dollar. Something that happened early this morning. Hold on, let me see. Let me make sure I'm not like delayed on this news. Hold on one second. Yeah, so Japanese rate decision. Let me make sure. So the Japan rate decision happened overnight last night. But the market's not down too bad here, right? Let me see. Did it pawn? Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, so the U.S. stock market, weird landscape right now. We've had some good tariff news come out. The microchip technology stock has introduced cost-optimized polar fire core FPGAs and SoCs, offering up to a 30% reduction in cost compared to previous models. Yeah, yields spike it up. Hey, Pawn, so where did you see... Let me see. Hold on. Where do you see the Japanese rate decision? I see Bank of England. Let me look this up. The next Bank of Japan rate decision is going to be June 17th, which is in about a month from now. Palantir's running up huge. Look at this. Palantir, one of the most of the tech stocks are down on the day, but Palantir is up. Yeah, so Palantir's up pretty significantly this morning. It's up to almost 130s at 128s right now. Yeah, I heard some news about Japan rate stuff. Let me double check this. Yeah. Yeah, you might be talking about the Chinese rate decision. Pawn is what I'm assuming you're talking about. Because yesterday at 1:30 in the morning, basically, yesterday at, when was this? We had the rate decision for China, the Chinese rate decision. I think is what you're talking about. Yeah, it was China, not Japan, that made a significant interest rate decision overnight. The People's Bank of China reduced its benchmark lending rate for the first time since October 2024. This one-year loan prime rate was lowered 10 basis points to 3%, and the 5-year LPR, crucial for mortgages, was cut to 3.5% as part of China's effort to bolster its economy amid trade tensions with the U.S. and international and internal challenges such as sluggish property market and weak demand. The rate cuts had a positive effect on global markets, at least in Asian markets. They responded favorably, with Japan's Nikkei index rising by 200 points and Hong Kong's Hang Seng index increasing by 1%. So the Bank of Japan did theirs on May 1st. They held its rate at 0.5%, but they did have a little bit of weak outlook going on with Japan. So that's what's going on, I think. We also have the Fed listens report today. So, we got the Fed listens report today. All right, so President has announced plans to set new tariff rates for trading partners, contributing to uncertainty. China responded by increasing tariffs on U.S. goods, but we have a 90-day pause to that now after 2 weeks ago. In the first quarter, Palantir, again, running up to 128 today. In the first quarter, it reported revenue of $884 million, surpassing analyst expectations, and a 70% year-over-year increase in adjusted net income. And then we're leading into the NVIDIA earnings next week. So next week we have the NVIDIA earnings report on the 28th, a very big day. I'm sure most markets are kind of flat. NVIDIA slightly red. SPY slightly red. Q slightly red. The Dow almost completely flat on the Dow. AMD slightly green. Google slightly green. Netflix slightly red. What am I missing? Apple slightly red. Meta slightly red. So most things are slightly red today, but very flat. All right, guys. All right, checking up on other stuff going on today. Let me do a poll. Tesla's green. Yeah, I mean, some tech are green today. Tesla's green. I think Tesla's up to almost 350s. Tesla's green. We got AMD is green. NVIDIA's red. Google, I think, is slightly green. Yeah, Google's green. So we got some stuff going on. All right, so we got some AI news coming out today. So we're going to break down some AI news. NVIDIA just announced a roadmap for physical AI. robotics and national scale AI factories. Number one, some other big announcement. DeepSeek is now 4 times faster, setting the standard for AI and inference and reasoning. NVIDIA is now building the GPT of humanoid robotics. They launched the Isaac Groot, a foundational model for general purpose robotics. The way it works is it asks a human to demo the task once. Cosmos, their physics AI model, generates thousands of variations. Omniverse simulates the motions in high fidelity, and the robot trains entirely in simulation, then fine-tunes itself in the real world. Robots can now learn general skills across tasks, tools, body types with just one human demonstration. Open source physics engine for robotics is going to be launching in July, built with Disney and DeepMind. It has GPU accelerated high fidelity soft and rigid body simulation it's differentiable in real-time training. CUDA X is quietly eating domains. AI factories are the new industrial plants and more. So a lot of cool AI news coming out. They're going to have robots pretty soon, I think. So we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, I'm checking up on some other sources here. Two, three. Okay, it's a 5. Let's check a 1 minute. Yeah, I mean, we're going to do a poll. Literally on the worst earnings ever, it got up, what, 9%? What are you talking about? Let's do a poll here. Let's see what we got. Does the market react favorably? Does the market run up or drop ahead of today's opening bell? We'll keep it simple. Bull move, bear move. I don't know. We'll actually give a sideways option. And then an I don't know option. Let me know how you feel. We're talking about Tesla. Yeah, I mean, Tesla did not have good earnings, but I mean, Tesla was also down. You know, like, look, Tesla, you got to take the big picture into consideration here. Tesla's running up this morning. That's true. Tesla's also down relative to its all-time highs. Like, look, Tesla literally dropped, what, 50% or more from almost $500. I'm just going to call it 5 for math purposes. And in that regard, Tesla dropped over 50%. Even, yeah, over 50% drop from December to March. From December to March, Tesla dropped over 50%. And so it bouncing back, you know, whatever it bounced back is not a crazy outcome regardless of what the earnings are. It was down 50% since December. So that is why it's probably rebounding back. It seemed pretty cheap, but I'm just going to wait on Tesla. Make myself a little bit smaller so we can watch things. All right, so the Premier Bank of China statement. It says China is going to strengthen monetary policy implementation and transmission. It says China is going to increase effort to support science and tech innovation and boost consumption, and they reiterate to implement moderately loose monetary policy. We got some earnings this week. Do we have some earnings this morning? Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, we had Home Depot come out with earnings this morning. Taking a look at it here. HD. Small gap up. It showed up at 356, worse than the 359 expected. Revenue of 39.86 versus 39.33 estimate. So it'd be revenue, missed EPS. We're waiting for Pony AI. It was supposed to release early this morning and it didn't. A bunch of other ones though. Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff here, but let's see what else we got. Some of these reversals are better. Looking at our poll numbers, we asked people, 40% of people think we're going to get a bull move leading into this. 26% of people think we're going to get a bearish move. 25% think we're going to move sideways. It is 6:30 in the morning in Texas. All right, let me check on some news here. We got a bunch of news dropping this morning, so... Yeah, again, the Premier Bank of China reiterated to implement moderately loose monetary policy and meet the financing needs of the economy via a symposium on financial support. BMW announces further share buyback program with volume of up to $2 billion resolved, scheduled to start in May this year, which is this month. Here's some people talking about QBTS, which is a quantum stock. Let me see if I can find anything else. It's been hard to make money recently, to be honest, in these markets. All right, so D-Wave launches commercial-grade Advantage 2 quantum system to tackle complex problems in optimization, AI, and material simulation. So yeah, D-Wave launches commercial-grade Advantage 2 quantum system, complex problems in optimization, AI, and material simulation. General availability of Advantage 2 quantum computer, its most advanced performer yet. And if we look at QBTS, QBTS is up big to almost $15 a share right now. Quantum stock running up pretty significantly this morning. Pouring into QBTS this past week. Look at the volume. Hey, thank you, Home Edge. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, sir. Hood to 100 by the end of the year. Yeah, Robinhood has honestly been like a big runner. It's up to 64.40s. 64.40s. Did you see what happened with 5 weird wicks on the SPY yesterday? Honestly, the market's been very volatile the last few days. I've kind of scaled down my size to where I'm not really trading super big right now. I don't like the market right now. I think you got to do that sometimes. But yeah, I'm just trading very slow, very small. Yeah, Home Depot's miss was their first miss in 5 years. My buddy worked for Home Depot. No. Market will move randomly. Yeah, I think the market's strange right now. We got the Fed listens report. Yeah. Markets can't be trusted right now. Yeah, I think the market's just... Look, it's not always a good time to trade and invest. And so I'm really taking it slow, taking it pretty small. TMC up another 5%. Is it really? Let me see. Oh, TMC, the metal company? Yeah, I'm not really interested in this. I mean, gold, if we're looking at it, pulled back a little bit on the market strength that we got, but still is doing pretty well. 10-year Treasury bonds, let's take a look at them. They have been spiking after the Moody's downgrade yesterday that we talked a lot about, but they did dip a little bit down now. So we are down a little bit on Treasuries. So Treasuries are dipping a little bit. Here is the 10-year Treasury yield. They did dip a little bit overnight, which is good. They were over 4.5% yesterday, and so 10 years dipping down shows a little bit of a lower interest rate sentiment. So yeah, that's what's going on, which is good. I mean, that's what you kind of want here. You want a lower interest rate sentiment right now, but it's been very high after fears. Very strange though, just because a weak economy, i.e. a Moody's downgrade, might justify lower interest rate environment, but higher yields indicates a higher interest rate sentiment. But the reason we have higher yields, I explained this yesterday, is because bonds are selling off. And so when bonds are selling off, yields inverse bonds. So the bond prices and the bond yields inverse each other because of supply and demand. And so if bonds are selling off because of a downgraded rating from Moody's, then yields are going to go up. But they did correct a little bit overnight. They're down to 4.46%, 4.46% right now. Stock market's mostly fat. We got some stuff running this morning though. We got Palantir up. We got Tesla up. Tesla up to 340s, 350 almost. So we're watching that here as well. Yeah, I mean, the market was already opening red, Nathan. And, yeah, I mean, yesterday we lost like $30 or something like that, and so it's a very small day. I just don't want to trade super heavy right now. And that might be boring, but, it's easier. Yeah, Bitcoin. Looking at Bitcoin today. We can look at Bitcoin futures right now. Bitcoin up to 105.6s right now, 105.6s. So that's probably why Coinbase is up. Coinbase has probably been running with Bitcoin. As Bitcoin's been rising, Coinbase is going to go up naturally with it, organically with it. That makes sense. Yeah, CoreWeave. We talked about that a little bit earlier as well. CoreWeave. Let me find my stuff. Yeah. Yeah, CoreWeave up to 90 right now. 90 for CoreWeave. which is CRWV. Huge win for Nvidia. Nvidia sitting on a 1.7 billion win with CoreWeave. CoreWeave reported first quarter revenue of 981.6 million, almost a billion, up 420% year-over-year increase, far exceeding expectations. It disclosed a $26 billion backlog in OpenAI contract worth up to $4 billion through 2029. It did lose 60 cents a share though, but it plans for up to 23 billion in capex in 2025 this year. Raised its fiscal year outlook, and yesterday announced a 1.5 billion private offering of senior notes due 2030. So, does the president speak today? Let's see. Yeah, he speaks at the House GOP conference meeting. So we also have what's called the Fed Listens event. So the Fed Listens event today, it's gonna have Susan Collins and I think Tom Barkin speaking at it. I'm not 100% sure. And then I know tomorrow we also have Fed Listens with Michelle Bowman and Tom Barkin. So today is Susan Collins and Tom Barkin, I think, and then tomorrow it is Bowman and Barkin. And then we got Powell on Sunday that's set to speak. Next week's the busy week, though. It's the crazy week. All right. NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, honestly, NVIDIA earnings are going to be chaos next week, man. Chaos. We're going to stream it all live like we always do. We also have the FOMC minutes report prior to that, too. So, all right, so China's central bank says it will promote the international use of the yuan. I'm terrible at pronouncing this. Yeah, so the yuan, the Chinese yuan is going to be promoted by China as the international currency. Do we buy this dip in markets here? I don't know, man. I'm taking it very slow. We could buy this little pullback to this level. Very choppy this morning, to be honest. Palantir on a big run up pretty decently. All right, guys. Yeah, so the big news today that I'm showing, China cutting 1-year rate to 3%, the first since October of last year to boost growth. So China did a rate cut. And again, I think that's the story of the day. We also have the Moody's downgrade. Palantir is up almost 70% year to date on AI momentum. MCHP unveils AI chip at 30% lower cost. So we got that going on too. All right, so we got that post out on x.com as well. Give me a follow at Beginner Trades, at x.com. And we're going to break down everything going on in markets. Honestly, we've been growing on our page, man. It's kind of fun to see the growth. Like, I'm kind of learning what works. And I think I figured it out. Yeah, so honestly, another stock that we were talking about yesterday that is up is UNH. So we talked about UNH, why it would probably go up. I should have bought it, honestly. I told you guys it would probably go up. I bought back in like 4 or 5 different stocks, like AMD, Tesla, Google, and more. Like a month ago, after the U.S. had like a big rebound day and then a pullback day, I bought back in. That investment looks like it was the right decision there. But I'm also kind of healing from taxes. In the last 6 months, I've paid 100 and something thousand taxes. And I changed the structure of my business, one of my businesses, to a different structure, and so that rendered all the tax due now, basically. But I got it done and I paid it, and I don't feel like selling anything else or liquidating or having to access savings. So I'm just kind of being a little cheap right now with investing, if I'm being completely honest. But we'll get back into the swing of things. Is this the correct thinking? AI will only be able to process with the help of quantum computing. I mean, we definitely talked about United Health yesterday. I told people I didn't buy into it, but I thought it would probably go up, is verbatim what I said. Don't copy me, not an investment professional. And so, I mean, it's up now. But like I said, I didn't actually buy into it. Maybe I should have. I gotta consolidate some of this stuff, exit out. I got too many windows up right now. Let me consolidate this, exit out of that, exit out of that. Consolidate this too, there we go. And then maybe add all of this to this one. All right, guys. 10-year treasuries 4.46%, 4.46%. We're looking at other news that came out, trying to cover it. Shell chairman says that moving company away from London is not a live issue. Punchbowl Sherman says House Speaker Johnson with the SALT caucus late last night, and here's the offer he privately made to them on state local deduction, which was $40,000 SALT deduction cap, no marriage penalty, capped at $751K. Income level snaps back to $30,000 after 4 years. Won't be enough to bring the Salters on board. Most likely they want 10 years in marriage penalties. Often described to several sources involved in crafting the deal on both sides. I got 2 treasury yields up. There we go. We can take a look at TLT, which I'm sure TLT is still down. We got to put Palantir up. It's at 127 still. Back up a little bit. D-Wave Quantum Systems unveils Advantage 2. Yeah. So one of the things we covered earlier was that, I think. Let me make sure. Or no, we covered microchip tech Polar Fire, offering up to a 30% reduction in cost compared to previous models. Yeah, so QBTS news. So we did cover QBTS, actually. It's up to almost 14s, right? Or over 14s now. So since I've said that, it's ripped over 14s. And yeah, it is, as you said, it is their new Advantage 2 system, energy efficient computing for hard problems. 6th generation quantum system become available over the cloud. Quantum stocks are running up a lot today. I think those are some stocks, like, unless we see some change in the industry, those are stocks that are the most interesting to me right now. Sideways. Palantir. Yeah, it's getting huge. AI is going to take off a lot. Stocks will dump crypto. I don't know. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, maybe. With quantum computing, would it be theoretically possible to hack some cryptocurrencies? I mean, we've talked about that conversation a little bit, but we could delve deeper into it. It's possible, it's unlikely. But if they do happen, obviously it can kind of dilute the whole crypto system and get around the block cycle, which wouldn't be good, you know, for crypto. But at the same time, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to do it. Yeah, so modern cryptographic systems. AI, I was trying to get AI to break down the bullet points of it, but AI is so literal. I said crypto instead of cryptocurrency. And it starts breaking down like cryptography, which is similar but different, of course. Yeah, so the most vulnerable areas where AI is going to hack it and pose risks are wallet security and private keys. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, ETH, Solana use elliptic curve cryptography, which is ECC, to secure wallets. A quantum computer using Shor's algorithm could derive your private keys from public wallet addresses, steal your funds without brute force. But this only becomes a risk after you've broadcasted a transaction exposing your key. If you've never sent crypto from a wallet, your public key may not be on chain and is safer. Like if we look at proof of work systems like Bitcoin mining, they rely on solving hash functions. Grover's algorithm could theoretically give a speed up. So they could mine faster, but not instantly. You need a very large fault-tolerant quantum computer to get it done, and quantum computers are kind of fragile. current mining would not break, but difficulty adjusting would have to respond. Difficult adjustments would have to respond. What you'd see is the most, if we could do that, you'd see the most wealthy people buying a bunch of quantum computers and mining Bitcoin from it. At this point in time, quantum computers are really expensive. So, yeah. Proof of stake stuff like ETH is less vulnerable. All right, so Japan's top tariff negotiator, Akazawa, intends to visit the U.S. again later this month after this week's third U.S.-Japan talks, according to Kyoto. And so I'll put this up on screen. Yeah, but you can see Japan's top tariff negotiator, Akazawa, intends to visit the U.S. again. They're trying to get a deal done with China. Do you think stocks are getting back to the severely overvalued again? I don't know, man. It depends on what you consider overvalued. The market's most of the time going to go up. It just depends on what happens here, you know. So we had BlackRock's Rick Ryder saying that it's currently the sweet spot for bonds. Do you guys agree? All right, so Rick Ryder identifies the current bond market sweet spot in high quality short to intermediate term bonds. He emphasizes that yields ranging from 6 to 7%, you can get right now, without extending into riskier long-term bonds. Because with bonds, like, the riskier nature of them is long-term, because you might have market runs and all kind of benefits from it, and you might lose money long-term comparing them to other more risky assets, if that makes sense. So Ryder adjusted BLK BlackRock's portfolio to favor higher credit quality assets and shorter maturities. It includes increased exposure to agency and non-agency mortgage, debt, and AAA rated asset-backed securities. He anticipates that the Fed will hold off on rate cuts, awaiting clear signs. And if we take a look at the Fed Watch tool here, still looking at, the rate cut odds have increased though. So maybe the Moody's thing made rate cut odds increase next month for June. I should have bought this dip. Remember, I talked about buying this dip. I should have bought it, but it's all right. And again, you can kind of see this has gone up slightly. It's currently at almost 9% chance. So that's up a little bit day to day. Yesterday it was at like 8. Today it's 8.6. So the rate cut odds are increasing. What will make this go up more, rate cut odds, is if we get like weak economic data. Like next week we have GDP data Thursday, PCE data Friday. We've got Nvidia earnings Wednesday. If we get a lot of fear in markets, like weakness, and then we have weak GDP and low PCE, that'll increase the odds of a rate cut. Because again, what the Fed needs to cut rates is they need inflation to be under control, which is low PCE, which is actually the Fed's, what they look at to gauge inflation is PCE. And so the Fed's going to look at PCE. If we get weak GDP data, and also I would say like Nvidia earnings, if we get a negative reaction to Nvidia earnings, weak GDP data and low PCE, all of that is going to contribute to a greater chance of a rate cut. Because if the economy's weak, the Fed needs to cut rates more. They more need to cut rates. I'll put it that way. If inflation's under control, they have more of a green light to cut rates, because one of the things that stops the Fed from cutting rates is inflation fears. So if inflation's under control, more of a green light to cut rates. If we get Nvidia weakness as well, people are going to argue economy and markets are weak, increase the odds of a rate cut. And so that's what I'm looking at next week. And next week we got a bunch of stuff. We also have the FOMC minutes report that we're going to cover live as well, as we always do. But all that stuff is going on. Yeah, I mean, what I was referencing though, Sam, was specifically mining and blockchain, solving hash functions using quantum computers is what I was referencing. In terms of the wallet security, you're correct. But what I was actually talking about in that specific instance was proof of work systems like Bitcoin, and having like Groger's algorithm speed up the mining, basically. And since ETH is not proof of work, basically you don't mine ETH, it's less vulnerable to that, of course, is all I was saying. You're right in terms of wallet security, though. Hey guys, hit the subscribe button. It's now 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 a.m. in the morning. We do have some Fed speakers coming out live today. Most of them start speaking today at 9 a.m. We got Tom Barkin, Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin, speaking at 9 a.m. in about an hour. We're gonna cover it. I don't know if I'm gonna stream it, but we'll cover it. And then some people said we got the president speaking again today. What do you think about Virgin Galactic Space, SPCE? I think it's a stock that people get really hyped up about, but it's mostly kind of like meme movement, to be completely honest. I think that the problem with it is that the space industry is incredibly expensive and difficult to monetize. And so betting everything on that company is a risky bet. And I've been saying this since space was $20 a share or more. It's been split a lot, but I think it's risky just because of the industry it's in. Not really something I'm interested necessarily in investing in, but if everybody else wants to make money with it, you know, go for it. Yeah, y'all hit the like button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Oh yeah, all good, Sam. Yeah, I mean, space is one of those stocks that I was actually correct on. I never liked space, even when it was like the cool thing to like it. I've told you guys this before. There's been like a handful of companies that have made me wanted to start a short report. I haven't because I feel like it's a little bit unethical to do so. And I think the red tape involved would be a little bit too much for me. But there's been a handful of companies that I've been very vocal about that have failed a lot. You know, Beyond Meat, Lululemon is down pretty significantly relative to highs. Definitely space is one of them. And so I think there's a couple companies that the problem is holding these long term. You know, Dollar General has been one of these companies. I think Dollar General is probably going to go out of business eventually. I don't know when, though. But is it worthwhile to bet on it? No, not really. Yeah, I mean, I don't think space was ever over 1,000, Chris. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think space was ever over 1,000. I think it's just been split a lot. Yeah, Katy Perry stuff was cringy for sure. Yeah, the press speaks every day. It's kind of diluted now. I don't really cover it that much. It's just too diluted. But we'll cover some of the stuff going on today with like Fed members speaking and stuff. Like, I'll try to take one little trade. But again, I'm trading very small today, guys. I'm just not really hyper interested in taking big risks right now and how the market's been behaving. I think sometimes you got to wait for good stuff. I'm going to buy this dip. One micro contract. We'll see how it goes, but it's very small. And if we break cleanly under 2160, we'll cut it. The range has honestly been pretty small in the market, especially for micros. Like, we're down less than $10 right now. Yeah, I want to let it test the 200 exponential because we've been getting like big rebounds and bounce backs. But one thing that I'm seeing lately is like when we bounce like this, a lot of the time we come back down, which is gonna could go against my trade. But it's something I've seen a lot lately in markets. Markets change and they act different. Like they don't act consistent all the time. And I think one of the things that I'm seeing is the market's kind of changed recently, where it's not acting in a similar way to how it's acted before. And which is why I've been kind of scaling down my size a good bit. I don't want to risk too much in giving up destroying accounts, so I'm just trying to trade small right now. I've been trading a lot of challenge accounts, and you know, in the challenge accounts, I definitely trade a little bit more risky because it's a challenge account. It's not too much risk. It's less risk than me just losing on a funded account, losing profits or whatever. But this is one micro contract, so very small. A lot of the time, what I have seen, and one of the strategies that I've seen that works really well, I need to be a little bit more selective with it myself, is the market has been holding, like, look at the 200 exponential bounce. So the market's been holding really, really well at the 200 EMA. And I think sometimes, like, I zoom in so close to these charts, the real pattern's like this. Again, less than $10 right now, and so it's still pretty flat of a trade. I want to give it a little bit of time. I'll use this. This is a good level to use now as a risk, but we'll see if we can get a move back up. I think we got to watch like Apple as well. Apple's so flat though. No, I'm going to cover Powell for sure. I just have to remember. But I'll cover Powell for sure. This week's honestly pretty slow. Thursday, we got some stuff going on. Like Thursday, we got some stuff. We have a bunch of Fed speakers for the Fed Listens report, but Powell's not speaking for Fed Listens this week. Is what it is. So usually Powell speaks for Fed Listens. For some reason, he's not speaking this year. But aside from that, it's pretty slow. All the reports are condensed to next week, where we got FOMC minutes, we got Nvidia earnings, PCE data, GDP data, and more next week. I don't think it's the JOLTS report next week. I think that's the week after. But still, we got a whole bunch of stuff, to be honest, like a lot. Like next week, we're going to be very busy. So we're finally green on the trade. I'm also kind of pivoting to longer term trades here. And I'm trading small size to get used to them. I'm just going to kind of bet on the upward trend. But we'll see if we can hold long enough. So Powell speaks on Sunday. We got another hold at the 200 exponential, which might be like an optimistic sign. But again, guys, don't copy me. Like, we're trading, again, like, look, let me show you. We are trading tiny size right now. And I think having the tick chart up right now makes it look bigger than it is. But this is $2, $4, $5, like very small. I'm just not really trying to take a lot of risk, just to clarify. So don't see me take trades now and think that I'm somehow jumping in some big size, because I'm just not. I just don't like the market action. I think the market action, I've heard a lot from a lot of traders that they've gotten beat up in the market the last week. And I think most people, if they're being honest, probably got beat up in the market. I know everybody on YouTube's green and making money and all that stuff, and, you know, maybe some of them, but I think some of them are probably getting beat up too. Yeah, he's speaking Sunday. Last week was just weird. Like, we had a lot of strange action, but the market's been mostly going up. Like, we've had mostly green stuff recently. And I think something I'm trying to get used to is, like, where do I add to this when it goes in my favor, right? Like, I think in order for me to add to this position, it needs to get, like, up here. And then maybe I can add to it and have a tighter risk, like, right there. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. And so one thing that I've been working on is getting in a better risk reward, even if my accuracy is a little bit worse. And so something that you've seen me do a lot is get green and then add to my position, and then it reverses back down because it's been so choppy. And then I'm kind of flat on the day. Like yesterday, I was mostly flat. I mean, usually Powell doesn't speak on the weekends. Powell is speaking this weekend specifically for the commencement address. Let me see the calendar. Hold on. So yeah, Powell's going to be speaking this weekend at the Princeton University bachelor ceremony, basically in New Jersey. We'll cover it. See what happens. Hey, what's up? What's up, Faye? Yeah, we're still watching Palantir. And again, Palantir's up big today, guys. Palantir's been moving. We're going to try to trade the open today. But again, we're trading very small. Very small. Only time the Fed should speak is to announce rate cuts. Well, I don't think they're going to be announcing rate cuts anytime soon. At this point in time, the rate cut odds are looking more and more like it's October. Or not October, I'm sorry, September. You know, like as of now, we got a 52% chance of a 25 basis point cut by September 17th. It is May right now. That's 5 months away. So, or 4 months away, sorry. Yeah, almost exactly 4 months. So, we got time. We got time until we're going to see any rate cuts. And again, the only thing that might change this is if we get good economic or weak economic data and strong and better inflation data, lower inflation data. So if inflation looks like it's under control and we get the economy turning weak, that's a situation where the Fed might cut. But it, you know, it looks like the Fed's being really strict, to be honest. So, of course he will, Guy. I don't think anything's going to happen to him in that regard. Yeah, if we can tap this level, we'll probably start cutting the rest break even. Yeah, I'm looking at earnings this morning. Let me see if do we have Pony AI? So Pony's still not out with their earnings. They're supposed to drop at 5 a.m. But or actually, I think we can post this. Hold on. So we had Pony AI. Did they come out with their stuff? I'm trying to watch this, but we do have Redfin home sales come out minus 0.1% month over month. We have Qatar Airways CEO says, quote, it was a very close call between Airbus and Boeing over Qatar Airways jetliner order, and Boeing jetliner order will cover Qatar Airways strategy until 2040. So Boeing won, I guess. Let's see, Pony AI. Let's see. Yeah, so Pony AI did post. Yeah, so what else do we have this morning? U.S. representative lawyer says the latest SALT offer is insufficient. We've had Home Depot. Pony is out. We had NBIS, Billy, Can. I'm watching this position. It's still pretty flat, so we're just letting it work. VIK. ARBE, VIPS, EXP, GDS Holdings. I'm looking at all the earnings that came out today. All right, so we got some stuff going on. Somebody said, I just got off the phone with the president. He's on his, this is, I'm trying to see who said this. I feel like I just saw this. Speaker Johnson said, I just got off the phone with the president. He's on his way over. I think the president is going to encourage everyone this morning to get in line and get the votes done. We need to deliver this for the American people. So we'll see if that's optimism. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut this, I think. We gave it a second. I'll let it test the 200 exponential. We're down like $15 here. I don't like this red candle at all. And so I'm going to cut that and just get out. But less than $20 loss. Like I said, we're keeping it very small. Just getting kind of choppiness. We'll wait until the opening bell and play some other stuff, but so it's not Japan, it's China did their rate decision and they cut interest rates. This made a lot of markets go up, but yeah, like you see how many ticks up or down, but like we're trading one micro contract, the loss was less than $20. And so it really is kind of just difficult to make money. That's why I like you see me trading much less yesterday and today. Like we traded a challenge account some of yesterday morning, but we're trading much less. QBTS. There's Palantir. Palantir got up to 128, it's pulling back down. We do have quantum stocks running a little bit. Look at QBTS still go here. Wow. Up to 1550s this morning, 1550s. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. You can honestly get involved with day trades and risk less. And you guys know me, like, I don't even claim to be a good trader. We're mostly just covering economic reports, market news, stock market news, Fed decisions, stuff like that. Like, that's why we get a good bit of people here every day, is because we cover everything that goes on in finance. You can watch it here and see what happens. We stream early. You can watch what goes on. But if you want to learn to day trade, it's frankly a lot easier to learn on Top Step than it is to fund your own account. Most day traders lose their funded account, lose their own account. If they fund their own account, they're probably going to lose 5, 10, 20, 30 grand. Almost all traders lose the first year. And so do not fund your own account in the first year. It makes no sense. You're probably just going to lose it and pay your market tuition. So you could do it that way, but most day traders lose. And so you're basically just giving up thousands of dollars. Instead, try a funded account program. TopStep gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with a demo account first. If you pass the test, they fund you between $50,000 up to $150K for the top one. 90% split, and prior to that split kicking in, you get to keep your first 10K in profit. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. Base one's $50 a month. So you have limited risk, and a lot of people would agree similar reward to funding your own account. No PDT rule in futures. You can get you around the PDT rule. You don't need to deposit 5, 10, 20, 30 grand to day trade. And it's just a beautiful way to learn. Most day traders lose. Futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies, micro, Bitcoin. No PDT rule. And Top Step is the most legit. They've paid out hundreds of millions, fund thousands. If you use my link and go to TopStepX, which is this platform, you see they use TradingView charts, so really nice charting. Zero commission on TopStepX, tons of resources, and they process payouts quick. We did a payout last week, and they processed it very quick, very quick. We got the email. So if you want to check them out, again, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Remember, I'm biased, so top 3 most biased person ever. Don't copy me. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Not an investment professional. But if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up in chat. I'll pin it to the top of the page, as well as post it in the chat. You can also find it in the description. Yields are down today, guys. So yields are down versus where they were. Oops, sorry. Yields are down versus where they were. Yields had spiked over the Moody's news because basically Moody's downgrading U.S. bond market is bad for bonds, and people sell off bonds, and bonds and yields inverse each other. So yields spiked yesterday up to over 4.5% on those bond sell-offs because bond prices and bond yields inverse each other. And so if people get nervous about bonds because Moody's downgraded them, basically, they sell the bonds and yields inverse them, so yields go up. But today we did have a dip in yields, so yields have come back down to earth a little bit more. If we take a look at the 10-year, the 10-year is currently sitting at 4.48%. It's actually up a little bit in the last few minutes here. It's up to 4.48%, 4.48. So yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I don't sell a course. I don't sell a service. I don't claim to be good. I just kind of cover market news and try to day trade. But yeah, I'd rather just be honest about it. I think people are so used to being, I'm the greatest ever, buy my course. I would rather just be real and say, hey, maybe I suck. Don't copy me. All right, so White House Counsel on Economic Advisories Chair Moran says there's no doubt over inflation and interest rates coming down, according to Bloomberg TV. So look at this news that's come out this morning. White House Counsel of Economic Advisories. I feel like there's so many different positions here, but he said there's no doubt over inflation and interest rates coming down, according to Bloomberg TV. We'll see about Friday. Is that good news for Friday's PCE report, chat? Next Friday's PCE report. So next Friday we have PCE inflation data. Is he giving us a little hint on inflation? But what's expected next week? Let me take a look at this. So next week for inflation data, we are expecting it doesn't even show the expected number yet. Let me see if they have an expected number here. Yeah, it's not even showing the expected number yet, so we'll have to wait. Last time PCE core came in at 0%. year over year came in at 2.6%. A lot of people would think that's pretty low when you take a look at like the PCE inflation graph. Let's make it core PCE inflation. I realize you can't ask AI for this stuff too, because AI will literally just make up a graph, you know. Yeah, so I mean, here is core PCE inflation's graph. And so we have seen, like, what this is right here is this is the Fed hawkish cycle. This is the restrictive cycle by the Fed. The Fed raises interest rates to try to push inflation down. They started in 2022 when inflation had spiked up. Like, if we take a look at this, starting in like late 21, early 22, look at inflation spike up. Yeah, I can already tell you what the previous part is, because look at inflation spike up. At this point in time, once this happened here, the Fed got really hawkish because they needed to be, because they needed to combat this inflation. And so once we're here, the Fed got really hawkish. They started raising interest rates. They did a bunch of rate hikes. They raised rates. I think they said it was like 550 basis points. Was it that big? It was something like that. And it worked in terms of the slow. It slowed inflation down. So we did have the Bank of Canada just do CPI. Hold on, let me make sure this is right. I think we just had the Bank of Canada report CPI. Yeah, so Canada just showed CPI increasing here. Now, this is not really breaking news that anybody cares about. No offense, Canada. Poutine's great. Okay, listen. I've got Canadian family. What? Was it in the bathroom?
It's not there
now. My son lost his toothbrush, guys. You lost your toothbrush?
Yeah.
Love you, man. I'm not being mean, dude. I love you. I'm pretty sure I've lost a toothbrush in my day. It's okay. Love you, buddy. Love you. Have a good day, guys. Toothbrush gate. Chat. Toothbrush gate. Anyways, Canada posted 2.5% common CPI, 0.5% core CPI. So Canada had CPI spike a little bit here. Year over year, 2.5%. And month over month, they did come in at a negative number at minus 0.1%. So in 30 minutes, chat, we have Barkin and Bostic. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Who's speaking? Sounds like a law firm. Barkin and Bostic. Okay, so I'm trying to track this, but I don't even have it listed here. Okay, so yeah, we got Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin speaking at 9 a.m. in 28 minutes. He was upset about his toothbrush. All right, so Kraken announces the launch of regulated crypto derivatives in Europe. Levi entering in a definitive agreement to sell Dockers to Authentic Brands for $311 million. You gotta wonder what Levi's is doing. I guess Levi's is okay. Especially the toothbrushes that we have here, bro. We got power toothbrushes in my household. I don't buy them personally. I like the OG toothbrushes. Like, just give me a little bit of plastic that I can, like, I like to manually brush my teeth so I can, get in there. Carol, on the other hand, is like a really tech-based toothbrusher. Like, she likes to use all these different tools in terms of, like, yeah, they're like, Carol's toothbrush probably costs about $80. And in turn, Jack's toothbrush probably costs about $80. So losing that toothbrush is kind of a big deal because it's almost a $100 toothbrush. If my toothbrush was lost, nobody would care. I'd just go grab another plastic one. All right, guys. Market broke under the 200 exponential. It's now starting to break down a little bit. Palantir still on its run. Dipping down to the VWAP though. QBTS quantum stocks also running this morning. They're pumping up big today. Yeah. Listen, we're here, guys. We're here for you. All right. All right, guys, we're going to be day trading live today, chat. We'll see how this goes. McKesson files for three-part notes offering, size not disclosed in an SEC filing. All right, we are breaking down here, still in the Nasdaq. Let's see if we bounce here at this 21,433 level. I'm not sure why this is a level. It's kind of different than what I normally use. We got 5 there, but 5 doesn't seem to react. The market's so flat. I think the only way to attack this market is to attack the range. What do you mean by Fed Listen? So every year the Fed does an event. It's called the Fed Listens event, where they talk about economics and monetary policy. Typically, we got Jerome Powell speaking during the Fed Listens event, but not right now. Powell said no, I guess, this year. I don't know. He's not going to be speaking in the Fed Listens event this year. Now we got Susan Collins, Boston Fed President Susan Collins speaking, and then tomorrow we got Tom Barkin and Bowman speaking in Fed Listens. So that's what's going on. We also have Tom Barkin speaking a little bit earlier at 9 a.m. today in about 25 minutes or so. We'll cover it. Look at the market flush down here, chat. Look at this big red candle here. I'm trying to see if there's a reason for it or whether we're just getting a sell-off. You know, we're getting a delayed response to Moody's. We went up a little bit yesterday after Moody's downgraded us. And we talked about this yesterday, but we'll cover it again. But let's talk about it. So Moody's downgraded the United States from AAA. I think it was to AA. What did they call it? It's like AAB or something. Hold on, let me see what it is. Okay. I posted this on my X page. We'll cover it again. You can kind of track what's going on in this. So, to give you a breakdown of what's going on in Moody's news. Prior to the recent downgrade on May 16th, which was last Friday, Moody's had never downgraded the U.S. rating. All right, and this is why it's significant. It's not the craziest thing, but we'll explain why. Yeah, so they downgraded it to AA1 last Friday. Marked the first time Moody's lowered the U.S. credit rating since 1917. It's the only time they lowered the U.S.'s credit rating, and this has been their rating AAA since 1917. S&P, Standard & Poor's, at the same time, so that makes it seem big, right? On the other side of that, to argue against the scale of it that this makes it seem, we've already had downgrades by the other two major U.S. credit ratings over the last 14 years. So Moody's was kind of the last credit rating agencies to downgrade the U.S. The other two had already started. One was in 2011, specifically S&P, Standard & Poor's, which obviously you probably know them best at S&P 500, Standard & Poor's 500 ETF index, I should say. They downgraded the U.S. from AAA to AA+ in August of 2011, so 14 years ago. They cited concerns over political gridlock and rising debt levels, and yeah, they started this downgrading process. Then 2 years ago in August of 2023, we had Fitch, which was the other big rating agencies, lower us to AAA plus or AA plus due to fiscal, what they described as fiscal deterioration and repeated debt ceiling negotiations. Now with Moody's this year in 2025, all three major credit rating agencies now assign the U.S. a rating below AAA. It kind of reflects concerns about the nation's fiscal trajectory. So that is what's going on. That happened Friday. Markets, that's what, again, this is what spiked bond yields. If we look at a 5-day chart on bond yields, you can kind of see the spike happening. Here is Friday here, and then boom, spike in bond yields. And that's why bond yields spiked over 4.5% because bonds started selling off. And you can see bonds start selling off if you want to see the other end of it here. TLT. You can see starting on Friday. Here's Friday. This is a different time frame bond, but you can see Friday sell off. Yeah. And we're starting to dip down a little bit too. We went up yesterday in bond prices, which means yields went down yesterday. But now we're starting to come back up for yields and back down some for bonds. So I hope you guys can kind of see how you track this. Against QBTS, still running up, hit $16 a share right now, chat. $16 a share. Crazy. Honestly, crazy. Yeah, sorry, catch back up with the chat. Sounds like the Fed speaks and tanks the market. Sometimes. What'd you say about McKesson? They filed for a three-part notes offering. They didn't disclose the size in an SEC filing. Listen, we're here to help, chat. We're here to help. This is what we do here. You're welcome. Okay? We're covering the market news. If you haven't already, listen, I'm going to plug myself a little bit. Don't cry about it. You'll be okay. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We get thousands of people that tune into this stream for economic reports, earnings. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to know what's going on in finance, and we start early as well. If you want to know what's going on in finance, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You know you want to. Try it one time. We also trade the opening bell live. But, yeah, subscribe. Do it now. People are real bitter. They missed the last dip. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, people just get weird, man. People get strange. If people miss out on stuff, they want the market to crash. It's kind of confirmation bias. They want the market to go down if they missed out on it. I get it. I understand. You know, I think Dolby on Top Step TV one time described it as like, nobody wants to exit a position on the long side and see the market break out right afterwards. And I think it's the same kind of sentiment here where nobody wants to get out of the market out of fear, and then the market rallies. You know, I've tried to tell people, the people who lose the most in these corrections like we've seen in the last 4 months, 5 months, the people who lose the most, and this is something that anybody that watches my stream knows that I have said this over and over and over and over again. The people who lose the most in crashes and corrections are people who get emotional and sell. The people who do the best in crashes and corrections are usually people that buy the dips on these big pullbacks, DCA into these dips on the big pullbacks. And so, you know, history is very clear. You know, Mark Twain said it doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. And it definitely rhymes with crashes and corrections. It might not act exactly the same, but it acts similar enough to have an edge in profit taking. So, hey, thank you, DM. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not a master of anything. Don't do it, chat. Don't do it. Angola reports a fire at Chevron's deepwater BBLT platform in Block 14. But selling off bonds, won't people buy more stocks? Short term? They can. I mean, you got to understand, like, stocks are seen as riskier assets. Bonds are seen as like risk-off assets. And so a lot of the time there's an inverse correlation between bond prices and stock prices, but it's not always exact, and it's definitely not 100% correlation. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think the market's up a lot. And again, it's one of the reasons I sold off a lot of my positions by December last year is because I thought the market was up too much. It's one of the reasons I didn't buy back in as early as I could. Because I just didn't know. I didn't know. And I usually take a risk averse approach in that, where if I don't know something, I try to just be very careful. Especially having a following. Like, I don't want to tell people the wrong thing and have them just get destroyed, in their stock accounts or whatever. I would rather just be honest about it and just tell them I don't know and do some stuff on the back end with less pressure than straight up telling people to buy something. I'm just not a big believer in that. I think there's enough edge where I don't need my following to piggyback off of it. What I really try to do here is teach people about economic policy and markets. I think it's easy to understand. It just takes time. And, there's a few good sources that you got to watch, like the CME Watch tool or inflation reports to understand what the Fed's decision making is going to be in the future. And I think if you can predict the economy, you can make money. All right, so again, equities and futures are mixed ahead of the Fed speeches. We're going to be covering them. In 15 minutes, we got, is it Barkin? Yeah, Tom Barkin speaking in 15 minutes. Yeah, but I don't think Tom Barkin's really going to influence markets. So just to put this into perspective, he's speaking in Virginia. The topic of his speech is going to be on growth in rural communities. This is the Fed's Investing in Rural America conference. So Tom Barkin probably going to be freaking nothing. Probably. I think one that, like, the Fed Listens report might have movement and things. But we're going to have to wait for that as well. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a big believer in investing. Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's been up a lot. It's up to 105s right now. We'll see if it holds. Opening bell. I'm very quick. I'm trying not to trade right now. I don't want to give back too much. I think the only way to really, honestly, if I had to trade right now, it'd probably be something like this. Here's a big range. I would be buying the bottom of this range. Personally, I'm not telling you to do it. No idea what's going to happen, and maybe just dumps down. Genuinely, maybe just dumps down. But we got a really big range, but sideways action. And so I don't think attacking breakouts or low of the day shorts is the best move, personally. I think just buying the bottom of the range, selling once we get towards the top makes the most sense. But again, I'm risk off right now. I'm not really trying to day trade until the open, at least. And at the same time, like, we talked about the Moody's downgrade a lot. I think people have to understand. Let me I gotta clear some of these levels out. Let me see what it lets me. Okay, so we removed. Good. Okay, yeah, so I think people have to understand this, though. People are saying, oh, the market's up on Moody's. It's really not. What happened here, here's where Moody's came out, chat. Moody's came out. You could see it. Like, look. So on Friday, we also had the University of Michigan data, but Moody's came out, and let me draw this. Moody's came out here, and look at the drop we saw from it. All right. Then yesterday morning, the market had a huge surge back up, and now we're here. So the market's kind of flat from Moody's. I was trying to draw a butterfly, guys. Is what I was trying to draw. I gave up on it after a certain point because, yeah. Latest update on UNH. I think UNH is up, right? Quantum stocks are really what's running today. UNH is up. A lot of people expected this. I should have bought it. Maybe a little FOMO on my end for that. Do you think we're going into a commodity bull market? Depends on which commodities. They're all wildly different and move in different directions potentially, so it depends. Yeah, this is my old playlist. I'm listening to it now. I tend to like it a little bit more. It's a better vibe with this old playlist that I have. All right, so U.S. House Speaker Johnson says the president will unify everyone. All right, guys. So, yeah, sitting very light. I'm gonna draw some new levels on my charts. Really, we got this right here. Let's talk about it. We got a really sideways range right here, man. I think we gotta look there. We gotta find a bottom here, which is probably around here. And I think that's the sideways range that we're currently in. So any breaks above or under this, maybe we're going to start to see some movement. I think we got to look at this isolated level down here. We'll call it 400 because I think whole dollar level of 400 makes the most sense right there. 25. Nah, I like this better. And yeah, so these are the levels I'm looking at. We got the high, isolated high up here from yesterday. You can also look at maybe 50 right here. Maybe we'll keep it right there. Yeah. All right, so these are the 4 levels I'm looking at right now. We're also going to look at the previous close and some other stuff too. But those are the 4 levels I'm looking at right now. We'll see if we get some momentum. I'm waiting. Appreciate what you're doing and all the information you provide. Thanks a lot. Hey, thank you, sir. All right, so Bostic is speaking right now. Again, I don't think he's going to say anything significant. Again, I really don't think he's going to say anything significant. Let me check, but I don't think he is. Yeah, Bostic said yesterday he's leaning towards just one rate cut this year. But Yeah, so actually I think Bostic's going to be the bigger speak today. Hold on, let me make sure. So yeah, Bostic. Barkin speaks. Susan Collins speaks. Bostic speaks. Hold on, wait. When is Bostic? Is Bostic speaking today? Hold on. I thought he spoke yesterday. And he said he sees one rate cut in 2025 because of tariffs. So, let me check this. And I know we got the Fed listens today with Susan Collins. So the Europe is reportedly considering imposing a Europe 2 handling fee on small packaged orders from China. Yeah, I don't see Bostic speaking today, but maybe he does. Speeches. But I'll try to track it. Yeah, Bostic does speak today. I think, man, it's hard to tell, to be honest. I could look at the let me check this. Actually, okay, I found it. Yeah, so, but it's later today. It's at 6 o'clock is what I'm showing. Unless he speaks earlier than this. Let me see. Yeah, so at 8 a.m. Bostic spoke yesterday. I'm not showing it today, but anyways, market's still very flat. Palantir running up. United Health is bouncing up a little bit, but still pretty slow. We got quantum stocks breaking out today. QBTS has been on a run, tapped $16 a share. Bitcoin still sitting at close to 105s. Yeah, so we're going to be paying attention to what Bostic says. He does speak, I think. All right, so daily U.S. equity opening prices. Home Depot beats. Will not raise prices due to tariffs. GM to stop China exports. All right, so we had the red book show up 3 minutes ago at 5.4%. Previous was 5.8%. House Speaker Johnson on Salt says we will get the job done. Canadian swaps market sees 50% chance of a Bank of Canada rate cut in June, down from 64% before CPI data. And again, Canada CPI data did show up a little bit hot, a little bit higher than expected, although they did still show a negative number month over month, but it was a little bit higher than expected. So. Okay, so yeah, Bostic does the opening remarks at the evolving market for bank funding. So we're here waiting for it to start. We'll cover it. I gotta turn the music off. Hold on, let me mute the music here. Okay, yeah. Alright, so yeah, I'm waiting for this to start. It's supposed to start right now, so. But yeah, Bostic's supposed to deliver the opening remarks. I figured out where it was. I don't know if the market's waiting on this. We got 30 minutes left until the open, so we're going to see. Oil. Yeah, we got a lot of Fed members speaking today. Oil is still up from where it was. Oil was under 60 for a long time. Got down to like $55 a barrel, which is very weak, of course. See, here's the bottom of that range. We are due for a choppy day.
There's a little bit of learning from yesterday. Good morning. It's good to see you all. Welcome back, and welcome to all of you who are joining us via the live stream. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday as much as I did. It was an excellent blend of learning for me, as well as a little bit of relaxation. I probably should have squeezed a little more of that in there. And I hope and trust that it was the same for you. Yesterday, I really enjoyed my conversation with Vice Chair Jefferson, and particularly like getting up to speed on the ins and outs of how non-banks are showing up in financial markets and all the different ways that's playing out. And I have to say, my brain is still wrestling with the issues associated with AI that arose in the context of last night's dinner conversation. And I actually have a feeling I'll be thinking about that conversation for quite some time. We have another stimulating day on tap, and the schedule will feature presentations and discussions of timely issues that will help shape the future of monetary policy, global financial markets, and the macro economy. Now, everyone here has the agenda, so I'm not going to go into detail on it. I will just put a particular flag in the ground for the evening conversation that we will have as a capstone. It'll be my pleasure to share the spotlight with San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly, as well as one of the newest Reserve Bank presidents, Beth Hammack, of the Cleveland Fed. And knowing them as I do, I'm sure that they will not disappoint in having a lively conversation. I'll just try to keep up with them as much as I can. I hope everyone enjoys the day. Please engage, continue to participate, and ask questions. And now, I will welcome Nellie Lang, who will moderate today's opening panel. Nellie?
Thank you. Thank you, President Bostic, Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, for having us here today. Very much appreciate the opportunity to speak on this session, which is the evolving market for bank funding.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to just turn this off. This is not going to move markets. This is not going to have much to do with markets, I think. And yeah, so we're just going to turn that off and just kind of cover market news. Bostic is not really going to be speaking on economic policy. He was just giving the opening remarks. So, is the president speaking right now? He's addressing the House GOP.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and First Lady Melania Trump.
All right, guys. We'll see if this moves markets. We're waiting for it. least their volume is better. I wonder if this is going to move markets now. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Again, we got 25 minutes until the opening bell.
Good afternoon and welcome to the White House. It's an honor to join you here today for the signing of the Take It Down Act, a national victory that will help parents and families protect children from online exploitation.
Okay.
This legislation...
Okay, I mean, this is going to be nothing too. All right. So, sorry, guys. It's just, I'm going to change that. There's not really much going on with that type of stuff. So, not worth, I mean, we can listen to it, but it's not going to really be anything moving markets, it doesn't seem like. Maybe, but unlikely. Market's still very flat. As I said, we got this bottom of the range here. Here. A lot of confirmation at the bottom of this range, and we bounced literally directly off of it, coming back up. Very choppy markets. We got some Fed members speaking. I think, the Fed member that's probably going to do stuff is going to be when they speak at the Fed Listens report. Probably that's when they're going to be doing stuff. Now, again, we'll see what that looks like, but I think that is where we're going to see some movement here. I got too many windows up here. Barkin. X out of that. We can exit out of that. Bond yields. We'll keep that one up. Here it is. All right, we'll get the music playing. Let me know if it's too loud. It might be too loud. I don't know, but let me know. There we go. We got the music back. Yeah, it's super sideways right now. Market's not really doing much. Hey, what's up, Blaze? All right, so we popped open the 200 exponential. Again, markets are very flat, sideways. I'm doing my best to wait until the opening bell to trade today. I'm just not really loving life trading this market lately. We do have, let me see who's supposed to speak. So we do have Collins speaking in 23 minutes at the Fed Listens report. That might move markets a little bit more than we've seen, but it's still very slow. Home Depot earnings moving things. Okay, so the president did say something regarding the tax bill. He says this party is united. It is not a question of holdouts. The economy is roaring. Yeah, Barkin does not comment on monetary policy and economic outlook in prepared remarks. Very, very short. He didn't really say anything, to be honest. He just kind of said, oh, we're doing this conference. So kind of boring there for Barkin. Again, the president said alternative to not passing tax bill is massive tax hype. Couple Republicans are grandstanding. We're not cutting anything meaningful, not changing Medicare and Medicaid to Social Security. Market's not really moving from this. We did have the EU Commission President von der Leyen saying on the latest sanctions package for Russia that an 18th package is being prepared with further hard-hitting sanctions. Again, Redbook showed up a couple minutes ago at 5.4%. And thank you, Blaze. Yeah, I mean, we're very flat. We got the opening bell in 20 minutes. We'll see what that looks like. We'll try to trade it. We'll see what we get. Yeah, Fed members speaking, but we got Fed listens at the opening bell too. I don't know if that's gonna move anything. It could, but kind of a boring time, man. My kids are in finals. Honestly, when do my kids do my 5th grader is doing finals. 5th grade, bro. What is going on? Like, is that normal in y'all's part of the world? 5th grade finals? Seems a little out there to me, personally, but 5th grade finals, man. Like, I don't think I did finals in 5th grade. It's kind of crazy. Honestly, I'm a little frustrated with it because, my son has had to basically study. My son has basically had to study at 10, 11 years old. Like, super heavy. Yeah, I mean, it's a good habit to get into as long as they're not too strict. All right, so Bosch is reportedly going to raise several billion EURs from investors, according to a corporate bond, citing sources. Volume is yet to be finalized, but expect to be comparable to Bosch's record raise in 2023, which was 4.5 billion euros. Market's still flat, still choppy, still boring. Yeah, no, I remember finals in high school. I don't remember middle school finals either. If I did have finals in middle school, it was kind of gimme finals. You know what I mean? Like, very easy. But this is not that. They got like exams all week at 5th grade. It seems a little out there, bro. Like, Texas is different though, because Texas has 5th grade is technically middle school in Texas, but it just seems kind of bizarre to me. And some of the teachers, it would be one thing if the teachers were understandable. Like, hey, these are freaking 10-year-olds. But they're not. They are, some teachers are just unhappy and they're just mean, Teaching's a hard job, by the way. My mom was a teacher, so teaching's a hard job. I can give it credit for being a hard job. But still, I think it's a little too early. My issue with it is that these teachers know that we're going to be the ones dealing with it. The parents are going to be the ones really dealing with it, not the kids, Yeah, no, it's good. 5th grade's 10, 11. Yeah, I mean, we're up here. We do have another level. I would say maybe 450 right here. I think that's probably a pretty good level to watch. But I also think we're incredibly choppy right now, and I'm not trying to trade. So the president softened a bit on salt, says that the Dem governors want it, according to Punchbowl Sherman. Yeah, it's a little bit too early. All right, guys. Hey, we got 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Still kind of a boring time right now. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT and futures. We are day trading the Nasdaq, which is basically the QQQ price action in futures today. If you want to get your feet wet, try Top Step. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, You only lose what you pay for it. The base one is $50 a month. It's a beautiful way to get started, learn in a structured environment. You're still risking something, which is incredibly crucial to learning how to day trade. You got to learn to trade under pressure. If you fail, you only lose $50 a month, though, versus tens of thousands of dollars some day traders lose in their first account in their first few years. And if you pass it, if you show skill as a day trader, they give you a $50K to $150K funded account with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first $10K in profit. So the reward is similar if you're a good trader, and if you're not and you're still learning, you lose a much less amount than you would funding your own account. Usually, I can't guarantee anything. You want to confirm it all with them. But if you go through my link, use TopStepX, you get 0 commission. Great way to learn. They use TradingView charts, and it's just a beautiful way. TopStep's the most legit. They've paid out hundreds of millions, fund thousands. Again, though, I'm biased because I get paid by them, so naturally I'm biased. You want to confirm it all with them. Can't guarantee anything. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Yeah, I heard about the Coinbase hack a couple days ago. Did you switch to a 5-minute chart? So I usually trade, like you guys see a 1-minute chart because it's what I have on the stream. Again, I have a very big monitor below you guys that has 5-minute charts on. It's not like I'm only trading on a 1-minute chart. You guys just can't see much that I'm looking at. So like I have a lot more data sources. Like if you look below me here, let me show you. Let me find the old image in my computer. I put it up a second ago. Here it is. So yeah, this is my monitor. I showed you guys this a couple different times, but this is my monitor. You know, that's Steve. Don't judge Steve. That's Steve right there. But this is my monitor right here. So it's an ultra wide 49-inch. So we're looking at a bunch of different stuff that y'all can't see. Yeah, market's very flat though. Like I said earlier, if I had to trade, which I don't, I would be buying this dip and then trying to sell at the top for a longer term trade. I think the range is very slight, very small, very boring. Not a lot going on. And so we're just sitting here waiting for the opening bell in 12 minutes. Getting ready to trade the opening bell. Trying to find something to trade. But Palantir up. I'm watching Palantir at the opening bell too. Yeah, I mean, I hold a lot of different stuff in investing. I don't really swing trade crypto because it's too volatile, to be honest. But y'all talking about this head and shoulders potential right here, where we got shoulder, head, shoulder? That right there? I see it, but I also think we're very choppy And so this is just kind of the move up to the top of the range, move back down to the bottom of the range, could move back up to the top, move back to the bottom, so forth and so on. I don't know, though. Again, you never know. Like, there's so much variance in trading that the people who are the most vocal about everybody else being wrong are usually the worst. I say this all the time, but it's true. So just figure out what works for you. There's a lot of variance and different stuff that works and doesn't work. So very choppy today. We're just waiting for the opening bell in 10 minutes. So yeah, you can short 450 right here, but again, I'm waiting. The 200 exponential is right underneath us. That could prop it up. The reason I don't like a short is because we have the 200 exponential right here. So like, what are we going to get? This down to it, but there's too great of a probability that we're going to bounce at it and go up. Yeah, I mean, there's always, you know, there might be a good trade entry. I don't know. Again, we'll see what Susan Collins says. So the president just said, quote, "I am a fiscal hawk." You mean the guy pushing the Fed to cut rates? I mean, does he mean it in a different context? A fiscal hawk would be a restrictive Fed, somebody that's restrictive, that wants high interest rates to push inflation down, just to clarify, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Range is very flat. We got 8 minutes, chat. 8 minutes. Hopefully we get some good stuff. He means spending. Yeah, he might mean spending, which means he wants to lower debt, stop spending as much. Fiscal hawk could mean a lot of different things, but I guess that makes sense. I was just trying to say if he meant like monetary policy. All right, chat, 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Am I the only person? Never mind. I was going to say, am I the only person that whenever I have to spell beautiful, I remember the guy from, I remember Jim Carrey. B-E-A-beautiful. Every time I spell it, I think of that. What movie is that from? All right, so the Big Beautiful Bill Act. Its goal is to stimulate economic growth, reduce tax burdens, and realign federal spending, particularly by reinforcing America First policies in energy, defense, and the labor market. It extends the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanently for individuals and corporations. It makes tips and overtime pay tax exempt. Auto loan interest deduction for Americans who purchase U.S.-made vehicles. It raises the SALT deduction cap from $10,000 to $30,000 state and local tax. simplifies the tax bracket, reduces the number of brackets, and adjusts rates downward for middle-income households. It cuts $900 billion in domestic discretionary spending over the next decade, reduces Medicaid eligibility, and tightens work requirements. I don't know if I like the reducing Medicaid eligibility. I don't think that's good. Cuts to SNAP, which is food stamp and federal housing. I'm torn on that. I think federal housing is good and SNAP is good as well for people that are struggling. But I also think that like people can become too dependent on it, and that can actually hurt them in the long run. You know what I mean? Where, you know, so I'm kind of neutral on that one, to be honest. It increases military and border security funding, including for wall maintenance and new defense tech. Slashes energy tax credits. Raises the debt ceiling from 1.7 to 2.3 trillion. So yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm a fiscal hawk, but this is raising the debt ceiling from 1.7 to 2.3 trillion. And again, when I say stuff like this, I hope you guys understand. I'm not like picking a side here. Like some people, like what I respect about people if they can be objective, right? Like just because your favorite politician says something doesn't mean it's true. Just because your favorite politician says somebody's bad doesn't mean it's true. I'm very neutral politically. I'm not. I agree with some of the stuff the president does. I disagree with some of the stuff he does as well. But yeah, I don't know. And in this, I agree with some of it. I disagree with some of it. But yeah. So the House is aiming for a full vote by Memorial Day of 2025, which is Memorial Day next Monday? Yeah. So Memorial Day is next Monday. Okay. Is the market closed? Yeah, U.S. banks, stock markets. What about futures? Okay, yeah, futures markets are closed Monday too. Yeah, it's Bruce Almighty. That's what it is. All right, chat. Hey, we got 3.5 minutes into the opening bell. We'll see what we get. Who knew how many people based the spelling of beautiful around Bruce Almighty, the movie? All right, guys, markets are coming down. Sam, it looks like your idea was correct. Good job, bro. This is why I'm not trading right now. So the president is talking, actually. He says, please put the pipeline language back in. Who doesn't love pipelines? Let's get this done. We need to build pipelines. Home Depot exec says it is confident we'll be able to effectively navigate environment as it stands today. Says confident we'll be able to, yeah. Elon Musk on Tesla says the sales situation has already turned around. Europe is the weakest market. Everything else is going well. Sales are strong. Markets are breaking down a little bit on all this stuff. Tesla's still up, though. All right, so this is probably the MOO. All right, so we're starting to come back down. We're at the bottom of this range here. We got 1 minute until the open, chat. 1 minute. Yeah, we're sideways for sure. I mean, I don't know. Yesterday, we actually had a pretty big green day where we ripped up a lot yesterday. So. All right, guys, here we go. We got 30 seconds to the opening bell. 30 seconds. All right, we have 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and here's the bell. All right, guys, market's at the bottom of the range here. We're going to wait and let a couple minutes play out first after the opening bell, but there's the open. We are watching Palantir. We're watching Tesla. We're watching NVIDIA. Google's falling down a little bit at the open. NVIDIA is trying to come back some here. We got to look at Meta. Microsoft moved a lot yesterday, too. Microchips are heading down some here. Tesla got up to 350s and then rejected back down. Yeah, we did our poll. We're going to end it now and do another one while we're waiting for the market to stabilize after the open. Does the market close red or green today? All right, so I'm seeing a turn in NVIDIA specifically. Palantir is down to under 127s for a little bit. NVIDIA is at 134s. A lot of stuff's obviously red this morning. We're in a choppy range, though. We're only a minute and a half, 1 to 2 minutes into the opening bell. So I do have to wait some here. Yeah, well, sideways was correct, Faye. Look at Palantir just rip up, getting ready to test the highs of the day. I kind of want to day trade a little bit right now. But Reuters poll says UK GDP growth to average 1% this year in 2025. Previous was 0.9% and 1.2% in 2026. I almost bought this dip too, but all right, we're about 3 minutes into the open now. NVIDIA looks like it's still falling down though. NVIDIA testing lows, broke lows just now. NVIDIA looking weak, then retraced all the way back. Meta's actually going green on the day. AMD actually broke down pretty significantly here as well. If we retrace, I'll buy a little bit of a dip, but I kind of need to wait. Yeah, I never really got a chance to, but we're about to hit that 200 exponential. Rejecting at that 433 level. Meta's rising up. Meta's at 640s right now. Look at Palantir fall down. I'll try to buy this here, chat. We're going to buy one contract here. First trade of the day since the opening bell, and we're going to keep it very light. Not going to add any more to this. Wanted to see if it filled some of this gap since we're so close to the bottom and we got a sign of strength, but I don't know if this red looks good. We'll give it a second though. Yeah, we're gonna, oh my gosh, dude, I double clicked it. I didn't want to double click it. I guess we'll hold this now. There we go. That's better. Sometimes accidental trades, guys, can be the best. We're gonna go ahead and cut it down there. Hey, made all our money back. That's good, I guess. See, I have this level on my charts that the market actually respected here. It's on the other chart, though. It's at 433, so it's literally right here. So I guess we'll put it up on the charts. We got 400s down there, too. Bouncing off of 400s. We get back up to 415. We can short, but we'll short this. See if we come back down. There we go. Very choppy open, though. We're kind of flat since the opening bell. I want to see if it goes back down and retest 14. Very whippy here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut that there. Just because it's been very difficult to make money. So we're going to get out. Nvidia just cracked lows here, though, chat. Look at Nvidia. Tesla's running up, though. So Tesla's kind of like the inverse stock today. So far, we have Nvidia breaking down, Google breaking down, Meta breaking down, AMD breaking down, Microsoft breaking down a little bit. We are kind of at a bottom range, though, and maybe some of these are going to start getting extended. So look, we just tapped off of 400 again. Palantir's right at the previous close. Yeah, Nvidia's been dipping for sure. Look at this bounce right there off of 400. Using some price levels today. I'm going to buy this. Maybe a little risky, but it's all right. If we break under 415, we'll cut it. See if we get a surge back up. Nah, nope. Yeah, I got to cut it, I think. Looks too heavy. Nvidia's still breaking down. Looks like cutting that was the right move. Let's see if we get under 400. We've tested this level a bunch. We got another level at maybe 7.5 right here. Look at that breakdown. We avoided a lot there. I'm just glad I'm trading small, man. U.S. Health Authority set to most favored pricing targets, HHS statement. Look at that rebound all the way back up here. So we're very choppy this morning again. I would just be careful, guys. It is incredibly choppy right now. Slight downtrend, but choppy nonetheless. So just be careful. MRM. Nah, I'm not really a big fan. No liquidity there either. All right, so Palantir was slightly green on the day. You can see it at the bottom or the top right. Google started to come back a little bit too. Meta starting to come back. Microsoft coming back some. I want to buy the dip here. Kind of. We'll try. All right, so we got a nice little green trade here. We're using 1 micro contract in these though, chat. So just to clarify, very small. White House says the president is going to make an announcement with the Secretary of Defense later on today. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that right there too, just to get out green. We're starting to look strong though. We got to get over that 200 exponential here though, so I'm gonna buy this little retracement, see if we pop back up. We tapped the 200 EMA. We're kind of going back and forth. 1 green trade, 1 red trade, 1 green trade, 1 red trade. But very easy to get faked out. Still down pretty small, though. Look at this huge slam down. Meta's turning. Google's turning. Nvidia's still testing lows. Microsoft flat. Yeah, I'm not buying MRM for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start slowing down. I just don't want to... Again, I want today to be small if I lose. And sometimes it's about account preservation more than gains. I think the last 2 days for me has been about account preservation. Yesterday was small. Today we're down a small amount too. I just don't want to... I don't want to give too much back to the market in this type of market. It's too whippy, choppy. Looks strong and then big red candle down and then looks weak and then a big green candle up. And so I think this is trapping a lot of traders most likely right now. So just be careful. Maybe correcting a little bit from yesterday. Tesla's starting to head down too. Tesla at 350s right now. Yeah, this is not a good trading environment for most people, chat, so just be careful. I'm trying to see if Susan Collins is speaking up a little bit today. I thought she was supposed to speak, but I don't know if she's going to say anything super hyper relevant because of the Fed listens. President has told House Republicans to lay off Medicaid. Again, the only thing to really make money in today, guys, is buying the bottom of the range and selling the top. But even with that, you got to be careful. This is one of the tightest opening ranges we've seen. Maybe we break out of this range, we'll get some good stuff. But the range is tiny, tiny. Yeah, I don't know. I think with these big down wicks, I don't know if it looks weak right now. That will fill some of this here down to like maybe 4s, but it's still kind of hard to gauge. We've had a lot of big moves up and down, so I've just kind of stopped trading. I'm not trying to give too much back. And again, it's not always a good day to trade. I traded once in pre-market, very small, less than $20. And then I've basically been back and forth since the open this morning. But it's just not easy to make money right now. And the range is small. Honestly, like we have Nvidia breaking down, but it's a very, like, look at Nvidia. So Nvidia is breaking down, but it's very, very, very like look, it's a choppy breakdown. So it's not even like a clean breakdown for Nvidia. Like, look at Nvidia right here. So it's mostly just like it's choppy. It's kind of sideways down. Stuff still looks red though. Like Google's starting to break down. Nvidia just cracked lows if you look at it here. Apple and Meta are kind of the unknowns. Amazon is kind of unknown too. A lot of stuff's flat. Maybe the market's waiting for next week. We got PCE, GDP data, Nvidia earnings, FOMC minutes, ISM services, I think, next week too. So, CB consumer confidence, durable goods, Case-Shiller house price index. You made $20. Hey, $20 is good today, bro. It's better than I'm doing. I'm just not really interested in trading super heavy. Nothing really looks good. All right, so there's actually a pretty significant breakdown here. Let's watch 375s. Look at this breakdown. So we finally breaking out of that opening range here. Wow, look at this red candle. Hold on, let me see if something. This might just be the opening range breaking out. Look at this candle though, chat. Yikes, dude, look at that. Well, at least we're getting some volatility. This is better than nothing. Hold on. Let me check the news. I don't see any news. Might just be the opening range breakout. So we broke down. It looked really weak, and then we retraced back up. We did break out of this opening range, though, so maybe there's a short argument. Again, the president is supposed to make an announcement with the Secretary of Defense at 3 o'clock today. Elon Musk says he's moving forward with the lawsuit against OpenAI. Yeah, I remember he was involved with OpenAI in the first part. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what happened with them in the beginning, but it was something like Elon Musk funded it. with the intention of making it like free and not commercialized, and then OpenAI went commercialized, or it was something like that, some type of disagreement. And then they got involved with Microsoft, who's like Elon's nemesis. And then, you know, it just turned into a mess afterwards, and they fell off. Is what happened, I'm pretty sure. I'll short a little pop if we get one, but if we get a pop we might not get it. Well, looks like we might not get it. Let's see. I need a pop to like 4s, to be honest, for me to take it. So Tesla cracked lows of the market open again. So is Amazon breaking down. Meta is testing lows too. Microsoft is breaking down. Yeah, Nvidia's still breaking lows. Look at it. Still falling down. I never really got a bounce to short, so I'll just wait. What's up, Robert? Again, how are you guys doing today? Again, we're pretty much flat. It's just kind of boring. There's not a ton of stuff, like a ton of action here. Like I said, we'll short a 4 test. Okay. I think that's good enough here. We're jumping in short. Nice. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut it right there. See if we get back up there. We'll short again. I don't know. We're actually over 4 now. Maybe I should wait. So the Feds are speaking, but it's not really anything big. I think until later. All right, now we're at 415. Maybe I could short that. Well, too late to short it. I should have, maybe. I'll try to jump in short right here. Nah. We made a little bit. Now we're down a little bit on this one. I want to see if it retraces, but we'll give it a second. Again, just to put this into perspective, it's a $25 loss. Basically nothing. I want to let it test 433s as my risk level. Now we're down $15 on the day. Or $15 on this trade, I mean. It seems big because of all the ticks, but we're trading 1 micro contract. See if we fall down some now. Now we're basically flat on the position. I want to get out right here, get out flat on the trade basically just now. So we made money on the first trade and then we lost a very small amount. So we're actually green in the last 2 trades. I'm too worried it's going to bounce here at 415. So if we can get close to that, I'll cut it. And probably, I just don't know if I see anything I really like today, guys. Market's so choppy and boring. I could attack the chop, but I think it's better to just go into account preservation mode and not give too much back. I'm too worried it's going to bounce back up to here, which is why I got out close to break even on that last one. Even if it continues down, I don't think it's worth the... Yeah, I mean, yesterday we ran up like big, you know. We're back down to 400s. Price action isn't good or bad. It just is. I disagree. I think you can have favorable price action and not so favorable price action. It just depends. Look, make y'all's money however you want to make it. Like, I'm just, for my style of trading, I'm not really super interested in sorry, I'm trying to send my wife a file, a real estate document. I'm trying to figure out how to attach. Where'd it go, bro? Come on now. Hold on. All right, so market's breaking down again. We're basically in this choppy / downward trend. Yeah, should have held your short. Yeah, it's no fun trading chop. That's why I'm trying to find other stuff to do. Listen, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT roll in futures. Top Step gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, the base one is $50 a month. It's the best way to learn if you're trying to day trade. Yeah, it's the best way to learn if you're trying to day trade. Most day traders lose. And so if you try to put the money up yourself, you're probably going to lose it. And so instead of risking your own money, you can risk Top Steps. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit without losing 2K first. Following their rules, they fund you. If you fail, you lose $50. 90% split once you're funded. If you want to check it out, here's the link. Waiting on an update about Toothbrush Gate. I don't know. They must have found it because he's at school right now. But hey, I love you all. Have a great day. Remember, not an investment professional. I can't guarantee anything. Be safe. I love you all. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.